So the NBA rating shows the NBA Finals right now. The Lakers are one game away from defeating the Miami Heat, and LeBron is about to get another ring. Now, here's the deal, though. The ratings for the games have been, like, dramatically bad. Here are the numbers for the first three games. Game 1, 7.4 million views. Game 2, 6.1 million views. Game 3, 5.9 million views. Game 2 and Game 3 are both all-time lows. So those are the two most least viewed games in NBA Finals history. They're more comparable to like a noon college football game than the NBA Finals game. And people are kind of wondering why, and people are kind of theorizing why. Is it the social justice messages? Is it the time of the year as far as like, the second game was on a Friday. The third game was opposite of the NFL, so those things aren't helping anything. Is it the bubble? Is it no fans, no arenas? And I think it's honestly, as much as a cop-out as this sounds, I think it's a little bit of everything. Okay? I think it's a little bit of everything. I think, yes, I think that there is an issue. Some people do not like just how intense the social justice matters are in the NBA. Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, has come out and said that next year, social justice messaging will probably be off of the court. It'll be handled in a different way next year. I'm sure it will be. So that surely has driven away some fans. All right. And that has been an issue. I don't think that's the full issue. I don't think that's the majority of the issue. In my personal opinion, I think the bigger problem is that it doesn't feel real. So the NFL has done a really good job of feeling real. Even the pumped-in noise, even the playing in their own stadium, stuff like that, it's felt really real. The broadcast, everything's felt good. As far as the NBA, it just doesn't. If you watch college basketball, you'll know what I'm talking about. But before college basketball, before the season, there's always a tournament like Hawaii. And it's like it's always the best teams in the nation. So you'll see like number 2 Duke playing number 1 Michigan in Hawaii before this tournament or before the season. And no one really gives a shit about that because everyone kind of inherently understands, one, these guys are somewhere else, and two, this game really doesn't matter in the long run. This whole thing really isn't real. It's not really 1 versus 2 here. Now, if Duke plays Michigan 1 versus 2 in the middle of the season, all of a sudden everyone's watching. That's how I kind of feel about the bubble. Is that I know the games count, but just it feels like a practice tournament or it feels like something else. It doesn't feel like the NBA Finals. I think a lot of that has to do with where they're playing. They're playing on the same floor in like a hotel ballroom or whatever the hell it is. There's no fans, and the NFL is doing a really good job of playing at their own stadiums. If you watch the New Orleans Saints and you watch them play in the Superdome, that's all pretty much like what you expect. And you can't even see the fans, you can't see the stands during the game most of the time, like during the actual play. So you're not really missing anything. Now, if the New Orleans Saints were playing on like a practice facility field in the middle of Tampa Bay, Florida, and every single NFL team was playing on this generic field, this training field, I guarantee you it would make the game feel worse. I guarantee you it would make the product feel worse. It would feel less like an NFL game, and it would feel more like an NFL practice. That's what I think is happening with the finals. I really do think a lot of people, and even I think this to an extent, to where it's like this is not a real finals victory. Now, you could argue that this is the hardest final victory. This is the hardest season. These are guys who are forced to play in a hotel or live in a hotel. They can't see their family. They're playing without fans. This is a tough time to be playing basketball. But you could also argue there's no travel. You could also argue there is no fans, so players that struggle in like big moments, it doesn't matter to them. So I see it both ways. But I think regardless, I think the combination of the prolonged social justice push and just how much it's dominated the viewing experience, I do think that's alienated a very small demographic. I think that the bubble has pushed some people away to be like, I really just don't care about this. Like, it's really just not that big of a deal. It's really not that cool. Like, it's not real basketball. It doesn't seem like the same thing. all of that is a perfect storm. I don't think this matters in the long run. I don't think the NBA is struggling. I don't think the NBA will continue to struggle. I don't think this is something that will dominate moving forward. I think it'll all be fine once they move back to kind of normality. But this is certainly something that if it continues next season, you start wondering why. But if it was me, if I was Adam Silver, I'd probably just kind of throw out these numbers, throw out this data, and say that, well, this is a bit of an anomaly. This is a bit of a weird time.